Welcome to the first episode of Get Rich Nick. We're your hosts, Nick Turner.
I'm called Nick Vatterott.
We say named.
I'm named Nick Vatterott.
We're working on the specifics. He's, of course, as everybody knows, an alien.
I'm learning
new to
to
this
be
earth.
like you. Your habits of how you make money are interesting to me.
So we are professional comedians, which means that we have good years and lean years. Much like anyone in this great, crazy world we call Earth. So Nick, at the moment, has a great job writing comedy for television. And I, at the moment, had a great idea to do a podcast. I got to a point where I thought to myself, all right, where's the money?
Right.
I had hidden money in many places.
But you just don't remember.
So I just got the shovel one night,
Yeah.
and like various apps and various accounts, and there's places that you can hide money for when you need money, you can get it. But all those ran dry, and I
Right.
thought to myself, I need more money.
Right.
So I looked at the outside world. What are quick ways that I can not have a job?
Right.
The most flexibility, can turn down anything at any moment
No boss.
and laugh while doing it.
No schedule.
Right.
Enjoy. Do what you love, which is everyone wants to do what they love for a living, and a lot of people love not working and not having a job. And also like so many times we're in a pinch. Especially comics. We're like lean month. I need rent. How can I get money today?
Yeah.
How can I wake up today and go to sleep with more money than I had when I woke up?
Or at least however long it takes to go through PayPal
Yeah.
and into my bank account.
Yeah, but none of this like W-2s and interview and work, and then
I need money Friday.
You don't get a paycheck for 2 more weeks.
Because I got a hot date
Yeah,
with
you got a
my
hot
doctor
date. Your doctor.
who needs $300 just for me to walk through the door.
Yeah, and how do you? And if you don't get it, you die.
You die.
So how do you,
It's dire circumstances.
So it's
Also, just doing comedy for so long, even if you're working, a lot of times you have most of your time free anyway.
yeah.
And there's just a lot of hours of the day that used to be spent just hanging out or just watching TV or hanging out with your buddies or quote unquote writing jokes at the coffee shop.
Right.
You got free time. Let's make more money.
How much money can I make in a day?
You never have too much money.
People want to get rich.
Nick. They want to get rich, Nick. They want to get rich quick. I want to get rich quick. I also think starting this podcast is going to be a great way for us to focus on our finances.
Absolutely.
And, I'm aged out of comedy in 16 months.
Yeah.
My manager told me, she said, you better get something going. But
Right.
I want to learn how, the various ways to make money. We have so many ideas set up. Our first, few episodes, we're walking dogs on Rover. We're
Donating plasma.
We're donating plasma. I did some TaskRabbit. We've got some casino stuff. We're gonna
Stocks?
donate perm.
Going to the stock
We're going to the
market?
stock market. Donate perm.
Donate
sperm.
perm. I'm donating all my perms.
We could donate hair for money.
We could donate hair for
We'll
money.
work on that one.
Some people give it to charities, but I say I'm a charity.
You are the number one.
Can I
charity.
donate to my cause, which is eating lunch?
We want to make $1 million,
Yeah.
and this is our way to do it. And we're going to tell you every step of the way how to do it.
Each week, we're going to try to find a new way to get rich quick, new ways to wake up and make money. And also, there's so many things that I hear you could do this, or I'm, like the donating plasma,
Yeah.
which is something I'd always heard you could do. A lot of things are like, well, how do you do it? And what's it like to do it? And is it worth it? And I think those are like 3 questions you wish you had answered on all these things.
So as we all know, there's no more careers.
Careers are done. 86th.
it's like Logan's Run, if you're over 30, good luck. You can't switch careers. You got to jump into the gig economy. You got to either be an Uber driver, you got to be a Postmates driver.
What is a gig economy?
Or a race car driver. A gig economy, I mean, I guess I don't know the definition, but it's not having a real job. It's all the jobs were stolen by an evil billionaire and sold through Walmart.
Right.
And now no one will give you 40 hours a week because then they have to give you health insurance.
So it's all side hustles now.
So it's all side hustles.
There's no main hustle. It's just a ton of side hustles. I always heard, too, that you always should have 2 streams of income, which is just like, well, yeah, I'd love 100 streams of income. But
that's a weird thing because I think still most people have full-time jobs.
Yeah, but I think it's sort of like have your full-time job and have one other thing that you do.
Right.
Honestly, I mean, how many people do you know? I've known a lot. I've sold drugs to sort of supplement an income, you know?
Oh my gosh. Wow, I can't believe I figured out how much of a degenerate you are here in the first episode.
Oh yeah. Well, you buy instead of buying 1 bag for yourself, you buy 4 bags, you get a deal.
Sure.
Because an ounce is a way better deal than just getting a quarter, and then you help your buddies out, and then you take a little bit of you sell them at a quarter price, but you got it at Costco prices, so you're making and that's how drug dealing happens.
Okay, all right, this is good. So this is making money how Warren Buffett would not.
I don't think he'd sell drugs. I bet he would. I bet if a Warren Buffett was born today and had the same gumption that. That he had back then, he started making his money. I read one thing, probably, I can't tell if I read this in a book or a whimsical sign at a Jimmy John's. But he apparently...
They wrote it in mustard on my sandwich.
When Warren Buffett was 17 years old, he bought a pinball machine for $25, which was like... $40,000 back then.
$180,000.
They were also...
It was roughly the cost to make the first Purge movie. $25 back then.
Yeah. I also like the idea of I don't know, you ever seen those old pinball machines? They look like they cost $25.
Oh, yeah. Were they because they're mostly just a painting?
Yeah.
There's just a ball that roams around a painting.
I can't imagine. It was like when you look at Pong, people played this? They liked this? But yeah, he put him in, he convinced barbers, put him in the waiting room, go 50-50 on the quarters or nickels or whatever it was back then. And then that's how, I think that was one of his first things. And I can't imagine what sort of side hustle, what his version of pinball machines and barbershop waiting rooms would be today.
Yeah. So we're going to find out what that is today. Okay, so today is our first episode, and we have long heard about a way to magically make some quick money, and we decided to do it, and that is to donate plasma.
Yes.
And Nick, you've never donated plasma?
No, well, I always thought that was sort of... there was something that just felt a little dirty about it, and then I realized that plasma is not semen.
It does donating plasma. It does sound like the place where you get AIDS.
Well, that was my fear the whole time we did this. I was afraid I was going to get
freak
AIDS.
Accident.
I feel like what's the worst thing that could happen? It's I could get AIDS.
But all it is donating blood, way more dramatically.
Right.
But it's the same needle.
When I've donated blood in the past, I always feel like there's a cheery volunteers that are happy that you're there doing this good thing. You don't get paid for it.
You get a cookie.
Yeah. They let you
Capri
juice
Sun.
and a cookie, and they're very grateful. And I feel like this place was cold, and they were nice, but they knew you were getting paid.
Yeah, and they kept saying, this is not a hospital. You are not receiving medical treatment.
Oh, right.
Anything we tell you, you have to go to a real doctor. But all I knew before I went in was nothing. I mean, I don't know anyone who's donated plasma. And I talked to a buddy of mine, Adam Newman, told him we were going to do this. And then he goes, oh, man, you know it really hurts, right? And I didn't. I mean, no one, I had not read that. No one had told me that. I was
Right.
not scared in the least. I
Right.
have given blood many times. I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, it's fine. I'm going to do it. It's for a podcast. And he goes, no, it really, really hurts. I'm like, why are you doing this?
Did he do it? Or he just
I don't
heard?
think so. He just heard. So this whole time, I didn't even tell you that because I didn't want to freak you out. So I had that knowledge in the back of my head. Like, Nick doesn't even know how
bad
awful
this
this
is.
is going to be.
Right.
It's
I
going
had
to
a
hurt.
feeling it was going to be awful.
Yeah.
There's something about donating plasma that even when I was a broke college kid and I knew it was an option you'd hear around campus, I just didn't eat that day instead of go to donate plasma because there was just something about it that was weird to me. And it was.
I mean, there's a reason that donating blood is free and donating plasma is $75. That is a large gap
right.
that you can't fill in your mind. You just don't know what the difference is. It just sounds. I mean, I'm not getting chills just thinking. Thinking about that right now.
To go back to like, what are they? No one's ever like, quick, he's losing blood. Quick, we need 15 pints of blood. No one's ever like, quick, he's losing plasma. Quick, give me 15 pints of plasma. You don't feel like you're going somewhere that's going to save lives. It feels like you're going somewhere where it's a mad scientist that decided to take his business out of the basement and set up shop on whatever. What part of town were we? Some weird part of LA?
Oh my God. I don't know if we could even find it on a map. It was so far. It was an hour away. I don't know. An hour left. It's just, I don't know why they have to put it back in. I still don't understand.
Take it.
Why? Yeah, it's like you have it.
Donate the blood to
I'm
these
living-
people that need blood. These people need
Yeah,
blood.
donate the blood to like a horror special effects studio.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's yours now. I'll get out of here.
I'm
keep
telling
it.
you, it's a lawsuit thing. They have to file more permits to keep the blood.
Yeah.
I think it's some loophole where they'd have to do something. They're like, well, what if they were like, it's cheaper if we just put the blood back in them. And I think that's what they do. It also feels like, you don't know. It's weird. I didn't know there was plasma in me. And now you're introducing a thing I didn't know about. Now you want it.
Yeah.
And also, why do you want it so bad that you're paying me for it? It's, it's something like, it's like, why do you want this baseball card of this player I've never heard of so bad? Is he worth a lot of money?
Want it.
Yeah, I want it. I
if
want my plasma
is worth
now.
its weight in literal gold.
Right.
Why do you want it so bad? And who are you? And we still don't know. We will never know that question. Who are these people?
Yeah.
And
what
what
was
they
the
are
name of
using
the
this
company that we went to?
Grifols.
What
And
is that?
and it was at a Biomat USA, and the company is GRIFOLS, which is not the name. It's like they got 8 billionaires and they took the first letter of each of their name. We will be known henceforth as Grifols.
Yeah, because it's plural, but
I
there's
realize
nothing
that's
plural.
only 7, but still.
Well, the last S is silent because it's not there.
So we went to go donate plasma. Roll that beautiful bean footage. That dog just died. Yeah.
Okay, so we just got denied.
Okay, so first attempt number 1 did not work.
Did not work.
You need to have your Social Security card with you, or your Social Security number on a W-2 or a pay stub, or your Social Security card. And we both had our Social Security cards, but apparently
I have a pristine mint condition Social Security card from 1978.
that
And
Dennis Miller.
yeah. I mean, this thing was in better condition than a toenail fun cream on a centipede shoes that you got back from a Hannes Wagner going down the street in a Kim Kabucha that too much bubble tea.
Wow, that is just like reading his Twitter feed.
Yeah, he's sort of just kind of trailing off these days.
So for some reason, Nick has never used his Social Security card. I keep mine in my wallet.
Who's using anyone's?
I've done it for a decade.
Nick needs it every day, apparently. Not
I
a day
just-
goes by that he's like, this thing has paid for itself in dividends.
So it looks like it got run over by a barrel of monkeys. And
I have ticket stubs from seeing Stone Temple Pilots when they first came out that are in better condition.
So there's
than
one
the Social
number
Security
on here
card.
they couldn't read. And they're like, I don't know if that's a 3, a 5, or an 8. And I'm like, well, I know.
You know.
It's a 3.
Yeah, it looked like an 8.
She went back and talked to her manager, which, I did look like an 8. We didn't think they were going to be very serious about the Social Security card, but they were, in fact, extremely serious.
I thought I was going to go in and they were going to be like, do you have arms we could draw blood from? And even that wasn't completely necessary.
Well, you got legs.
Yeah.
But instead, they pulled out like a diamond magnifying glass and looked at my Social Security card and determined I was an ISIS.
I don't know what they think the scam is for you to have the wrong Social Security number. For you to say a 3 is an 8, I don't. And by the way, I'm giving away your Social Security number. Now people know there's either a 3 or an 8 in your Social Security card.
And no one knows which one it is.
Nobody knows, and that's why we were turned away.
Even I was confused.
So what we did find out is that they say it takes up to 3 hours to do one of these procedures. So give yourself a little time. I still feel like there was guys in there with garbage bag luggage, and I don't know how they have a better Social Security card.
It is embarrassing that I lost out to a guy with no shirt on. They said, that guy, we want his blood, but you, sir, you are no good, you stinky salesman.
One guy just had his hands cupped out, and there was blood, a pool of blood in his hands.
Yeah, one guy brought his own cup of blood, and they ushered him in. I think he went through the VIP line.
Well, he had a good Social Security card. That was us right before we got so rich.
Right before we found out that this was about a $2 an hour job.
I mean, it's you can go get money from a place that had never even heard of you before you woke up that morning.
Right, doesn't matter who you are. They want your blood. So, but you got to jump through so many hurdles that we did not foresee. So we go in, and right away there's some problems. All you need to do to donate blood is to present an ID and a Social Security number verification. Like either have your Social Security card or your Social Security fully written on a pay stub or a W-2. So I have my Social Security card in my wallet. I've always kept it in my wallet. For 20 years, I've kept this thing in my wallet, and it is illegal to laminate a Social Security card. So it's just kind of free in there, and I'll admit, it's a little beat up.
My credit card.
Social Security card.
My Social Security. No, I want to talk about my credit card. My credit card. My Social Security card I keep in a shoebox inside of a trunk inside of a closet behind 18 feet of concrete. It is the most
under
pristine.
Tony Soprano's money.
It's literally in mint condition. I have the opposite Social Security card that Nick has when we go in here.
So he gives the nurse his ID and Social Security card, and they're like, "Great, we're gonna put you in front of the line." And then I give her mine, and
we forgot you didn't say the part. She goes, "Wow, this is the nicest Social Security card."
Did she really?
Yeah, she said that to me, and she goes, and she says, "And I see thousands and thousands of these every week, and this is you must really care about your Social Security card
and your life."
Yeah.
And then I showed her mine, and she said, "Are you suicidal?"
Yeah. She threw up in her mouth, and then...
So she looks at it, and she says, "I don't think we can use this because I can't tell if one number, the third number, she couldn't tell if it was a 3 or an 8 or whatever."
And she was right.
And then I looked at it, and I'm like, well, guess what? Luckily, we have an expert with us. And he can tell you what number this is. But I'm looking at it, I'm like, I can tell it's a 3. It's a 3. Everybody can tell it's a 3. Meanwhile, she's completely right. I mean, there's no number there. I thought it may have been a 5. So then she's like, well, maybe I'll go ask my superior or whatever.
Yeah.
Which I'm like,
car dealership. Let me see what I can do.
Yeah. So she goes and she smokes a bowl. I can smell it on her. And she comes back and she's like, "Guess what, bro? We can't use it." And we have the audio, but I learned making this podcast that in California, unlike New York, they got laws about recording people. In New York, you can just secretly, evilly record anyone you want and then make that a podcast. But in California, you need permission, which I did not get. So we can't use the audio. But our producer, Lyra, has written down in a script what exactly happened. And we can reenact this for you.
All right, I'll play the nurse.
And you'll play the nurse, and I'll play, I don't know, me.
And you've just handed me your...
My wonderful card.
Yeah, your paper napkin of a Social Security card.
I just...
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to take this because it's not clear. Your Social Security number isn't clear, and if we can't read it, we usually cannot take it.
You can't read that?
Okay, I'm going to go ask them to see if that's okay, because usually if we can't read it...
Okay, from looking at it, though, it seems pretty readable.
I don't know if that's an 8 or a 3 or a 5, so I'm going to have to ask them.
It's a 3. This sounds horrible from just reading my own words. They're so cold. It's a 3. I'm going to say it. This is how I was saying it. Oh, well, it's a 3.
All right.
I don't know.
Okay.
When you know what it is, it's easier to read it. I laughed too much.
She did not buy it. She came back and I'm the nurse. I hand you back the Social Security card and I go, I'm sorry, we can't use it.
And then I, just through gritted teeth, trying to be as nice as possible after we had spent hours getting there, I just said, well, that's very frustrating. And
then we put, by the way, I'm cleared. I'm good to go. I'm
he
ready
could
to
go
start
right now. I could go get a W-2.
Right.
And then we could come back. And there was just enough time, they thought, for us to do that. And then we went home and we ran out of time because I took a wrong turn. And then we went to buy weed.
So we went to the dispensary and bought weed. So
yeah.
I think we were down. We set up to make money that day. We lost money that day.
We definitely lost money.
Gas, weed.
And it took us like 2 weeks to be able to go back to 2 weeks. 3. It was a while ago.
Yeah.
And to be able to go back because it's time consuming. So we finally went back this past Sunday. We're constantly concerned about eating enough and drinking enough because they've scared you into thinking plasma is going to be so intense. You need to have a meal.
They've scared you.
Me.
They hadn't scared me because you picked me up and said,
"Well, I got that info from Adam Newman."
Oh yeah,
and it's so painful.
You picked me up and you said, "Are you ready to do this?" And I said, "Sure." He's like, "Have you eaten a big meal?" And I had said, "No, I actually decided to start my diet this morning." And I literally woke up and ate 5 bites of a salad, and that was all I had eaten.
He had to knock a bunny out of the way to get this meal.
Scram. Okay, got it. Give me that.
So anyway, we went and we filled up at Sky Burger, and then we went back to Biomat USA. All right, you want to go in?
Let's do this.
All right, we're going in.
Time to make some money.
Come on back. I'll be doing a donor evaluation.
Great.
It's really important that you answer these questions carefully. Don't worry, all of your answers are confidential.
You should not donate plasma if you have a recent tattoo or body piercing.
You clicked off piercing, and I was like, where did you have a piercing?
Oh, yeah,
and
they
that's
have-
when I learned that Nick Turner had a chin piercing at one point in his life that I had no idea about and can't imagine.
Already, I wasn't prepared for all this to come out.
Chin piercing.
Yeah, they have like a diagram, and you're supposed to like draw on it, like where your tattoos and piercings are, which I guess could take some people
But
hours.
just walk me through.
So
How old
yes,
were you when you had a chin?
I was 18 years old. I got a labret piercing, which is what it's called, just below the lip, just above the chin.
Right, because you were the lead singer of Big Bad Voodoo Daddy at the time.
I was. It was after high school graduation, and everybody goes to the beach. It was beach week.
Oh yeah.
And so in my house, there were like 12 guys, and I remember there were 8 of us who all got piercings, and we all got different areas.
Wait, 8 of you.
8 of, and I'm like,
I can't
I
think
don't,
of 8
No,
places
there
to
was
get.
there was an ear, there was an inner ear, and a top of ear. There was a belly button, a nipple, a labret, a tongue. There's lots of things to pierce. So I did the
way
labret.
to hang out with guys.
It's just we all got our labret, and then we each took photos and we cobbled them together. So it looks like all of us just had 19.
Oh, cool.
No, that would be cool, but we didn't do that. I don't think they had that technology in '98. So I got that piercing, and then 9 months later or 7 months later, it was Christmas, and my dad paid me $150 to take it out. I was like, I need some money. Also, I hated it. It was really, really
the ladies
stupid.
like it? Or was
No,
every girl's
no,
like, I
no.
love that you treat your chin like an ear.
It was a big whiff. And I remember I would constantly bite it and it would pull out and I would be bleeding. And it was awesome. So now you can still see it on my face. Every time anyone's ever done makeup on it, it's I have to have a conversation about my fucking labret.
You don't have a chin ear, do you? Do they let you donate plasma?
You got a hole in your face, bruv. So anyway, I had to tell the whole world about that to donate plasma. So I brought a W-2 with my Social Security. I actually brought every W-2 from last year because I didn't want any more shenanigans. I also brought my passport. I was very ready, and we go in, and everything's fine. We both sign up as soon as we get in there at the same time. Mm-hmm. And then we go sit down and wait to be called. And we don't really know how long the process is. We know that the blood is going to take a while, but we don't know that them checking us out is going to take a while.
Right.
So we sat down. I'm called pretty quickly, and then I get a notebook, and you're supposed to read over the book and read all this information, and then it says you're going to be quizzed about it later.
By the way, better waiting room. The first time it was, the first time it was a bunch of guys, guys with their shirts off and tattoos. It looked like a tattoo parlor in there. Second time it was much more normal.
Yeah.
It wasn't as crazy.
It was like kids who who wanted money to buy the new iPod. That's what it was just very young. And as we learn the guidelines they're a lot stricter than I think what we were thinking. And it's not a bunch of drug users there. Those people can't donate plasma.
Right. They all looked so we go and you look into the book of all the things that people can't be.
Right.
And the last time we were there, everybody looked like exactly the people they didn't want donating blood. Yeah. And then you filled
it was
out
like you
thing.
can't have been on more than one episode of Intervention.
These questions are hilarious. Were you in France during the? Because there was it was were you in Europe between 92 and 97? Yeah. Were you in Saudi Arabia between 74? Were you in France during the bubonic plague? Were you beef?
Were you on the moon when Neil Armstrong?
Were you on the moon between 1968 and 1970? You might have contracted Martianitis.
Yeah, it's so weird. And no one in that waiting room was there then. They were all born in 1998. Okay, so one part is where they get you into a room and make you watch a video on an iPad, and then they bring in a very bored nurse to recite this 20-minute.
Now, how bored on a scale of husband going shopping to kiosk mall girl? How bored was she?
I feel it's it's a person whose job is about to get taken over by a robot. That's the scale of which this person. She was trying to act like a robot. She had to memorize this 20-page script, which is something we'd already read and saw a video about and took a quiz about. Right. And then she's she reads it to me. But in the video, there was something very interesting, and I recorded it with my phone, and I want to play a clip of part of the video that I found quite shocking.
Yeah.
If you currently use or have ever used IV drugs, if you've been incarcerated for more than 72 hours in the past 12 months, or engaged in sex for money or drugs, or are a man who's had male sexual partners.
Okay, there it was. If you are gay, we do not want your plasma. And that came up a lot. It was in the book. It was in her speech. It was in, I think, like I had to say it verbally to maybe 2 people that I was not gay. Video, everything. It's just like, I've never had to like prove myself to be straight. Nobody asked me that question.
You're not gay, are you?
You're not gay, yeah.
No one has said that since like grade school.
It hasn't been bad to say yes to it.
Right.
At any point, like in 20 years.
It's a very backwoods way of running what I thought I was at a nice, normal, evil villain pharmaceutical sucking the souls out of people and putting it back in.
Also, it's not even gay. It's just like if you happen to have a dick thrown at you or make
so
out
weird.
with a guy, it's just like it doesn't even for a straight person who's more adventurous.
It's based on like 1980s like Ronald Reagan logic of myth and prejudice.
Yeah.
Like, I can't and then there is part of me that's like, wait, if you guys are like basing things off of, if this is your science, I don't know if I trust you with your other science, I guess.
Well, also, none of that is verifiable, Like, have you been in prison? No. You gay? No. You get a bunch of tattoos on your ass? I don't. Okay, I can't. I'm not going to look.
Maybe people who have tattoos have been exposed to, a possible blood contamination.
And it's not tattoos at all. It's tattoos in the past year or whatever. Piercings
Right.
in the past year.
Right. It's just like you're.
But
like,
if you kissed a boy when you
Why?
were 11
Yeah.
trying to figure it out, then you cannot donate.
You can't donate. That's
in your
so.
30s.
I just don't. I don't see it. I don't see how they can sort of.
Tell me more about this incident in the sandbox.
So how far'd you go with him? It's so weird to me, and I wonder if has anyone ever like complained.
Okay, so we just found out that you can't even donate regular blood if you've had sex with a man in the last 12 months. So it's okay if you used to be gay, or it's okay if you're in a rut. If you've been putting yourself out there and not getting any nibbles, then you can donate plasma. But if you are a fuck stud, or if you have a husband, or anything, if you are actively gay. Okay. So, yeah, that's weird.
That's weird. I mean, straight people can get AIDS, Also, don't you check for the AIDS? I mean...
Yeah, you could just say the AIDS part.
What do you go, do you have AIDS?
Yeah.
You can't donate.
Yeah, I got AIDS, but I'm not gay.
You know what's funny? They never asked that once on the whole thing.
Do you have AIDS?
They asked all these things that might have exposed you, but I don't remember. Maybe they did. But
Yeah.
I don't think they were straight up like... They were just...
They didn't ask us 8 times like they did if we were gay.
Yeah. I mean, that's discrimination, isn't it? Am I wrong?
And this is the thing, the whole part about it. We don't know who's behind it. We don't know what they're doing with it. They say what they're doing with it, but it's super vague and positive. And, it's just like I don't know what that means.
Did you know that it takes 6 to 10 donations to make just 1 dose of medicine for me? Your continued commitment to donation is a meaningful gift to me, my friends, and my family. Thank you for your plasma donation.
After you read this binder, and like you were saying, we get this same information regurgitated back to us
by
in
so many
5
people.
different places.
Yeah.
And by the time the quiz came, where you have to fill it out, the only one I got wrong was, if you've been incarcerated for 72 hours, do you have a higher chance of having AIDS? And I was like, because the other one was like, can you get AIDS from hugging somebody or shaking someone's hand? And so it was a lot of like myths. I was like, this has got to be a myth. And I was like, I know they want me to say, because I've seen it like 3 times, that I can't donate if I have. Mm-hmm. But I was like, it doesn't make any sense. So I got it wrong, and I asked her, I was like, why? And she's like, because if you've been in prison, there's a lot of fights in prison, and which means there's lots of blood splatters, and so you've probably been around exposed. You have a higher chance of being around exposed blood than other people. And what I thought was interesting about that is we have this incarceration problem in this country and punishments being fair or not fair. And that makes punishments, not only when you arrest somebody, all the going to jail for 6 years for voter because she voted and was a felon, or 5 years or whatever. You're not only it's an unfair punishment for that alone. Now on top of that, she has a higher chance of getting AIDS.
Yeah, and I love and this biomat. They're like, I just assumed she has AIDS because she was in prison. We do an arm check to make sure that your veins are good enough. Then they take your photograph. Then they stain your your middle finger.
Right.
Every different plasma donation center company in the area has a different finger that they stain. So if you come into a different one, they can look at your finger and tell that you have been in the last however many. I don't know how long the stain lasts, but it's like ultraviolet. It lasts for like a month or something. They can
So
tell
it's still on there, you
if
think?
you're going. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so they can tell if you're going to different ones.
I didn't realize I have invisible ink on my hands as we speak.
Yeah, if they took you in, they'd be like, "Oh, we got one of these plasma donating,
That's so weird. So if I put it under black light right now, it would go off.
Yes.
Weird.
Yeah. And then, they prick your finger to get a blood sample to make sure that, wherever your blood is viable. They make you pee in a cup so they can test that.
Pee in cup I thought was funny because you go into the bathroom and then they pee in the cup, and then there's like a little window that you pull down, put your cup in there, and I just thought that was like the worst drive-through window. There's just because it looks like a little Jack in the Box situation right there. I was just like, oh, that's.
What if you had opened up to put your sample in there and there was a hamburger? It just had a little note like, "Thanks for your donation. Please enjoy this hamburger, courtesy of Jack in the Box."
I like another quiz you take. It's like question number 10. You didn't eat that hamburger, did you?
I thought it was going to be like, "Where are you going to go for all your hamburger needs?"
Is this place just a commercial?
Okay, so you have to do all that, and then they take you in the room. They do your weight, your blood pressure, pulse, temperature. They also they take your temperature inside your mouth. If you have, and they told me that if your temperature in your mouth is too high, then you can take a lap or suck on an ice cube and get it down, and then you can come back. And then if you fail it again, then you can't give blood. But it seemed pretty easy to control that. And then you have to take this quiz, which was like 60 questions. And it was so slow.
Oh,
it
yeah.
took forever.
Over at the kiosk.
Yeah. So we're called up for these things one by one. It's maybe like 5-6 different stations.
Yeah.
And I'm just called up in half the time that you are for every station. Like you start 5 minutes behind me, then 10. And then when
you first got called up, it was like 20 minutes until I got called up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then when you got called up for the second thing, it was like 30 minutes until I got called up.
Yeah.
And it kept lagging longer and longer. And then there was a guy who came in after me who was now going faster than you. I was so far behind where you are. You were doing all the stations.
Yeah, so the last thing is like you get the doctor, you go in the examining room and they check your cough and whatever. And then it was clear that I was about to be approved. And so I said, I came with a buddy and he's way behind me. Is it okay if I don't go in until he's ready and then we can go sit next to each other?
Right.
And she said, no. It's just like there was no other explanation,
right?
And I was like, "There's no arguing with that.
Why can't I?"
And then so she's like, "Let's go in now." I was like, "Okay."
All right.
And then so we get whiskey in. I see you, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm going in now. Can't wait for you. Bye."
Yeah.
So I get in the room where it happens, and it is like a room out of like a future sci-fi movie where they are growing bodies. Body bags for other people, to harvest our organs.
I just picture like the Matrix or like.
Yeah, there's just row after row. There's probably 6 beds in a row, and there's probably 10 rows.
Right.
And they're probably half full. And there you can look up, and there's like 2-way mirrors all along the top that are like pointed down. So like anyone. I don't know who's up there. Griffles. They got Greg, Rick, India. They got everybody.
Thank God.
And they're just, rubbing their hands together while they suck your blood. But a woman comes in and starts the process. And there's this big machine that you sit next to. And she plugs you in. And this is like, I'm ready for it because I'm thinking about Adam Newman saying it was really painful. And then I looked up why it was painful. I Googled, and they said because the needles are bigger than they use in regular blood donations because there has to be a circle and it comes back. Anyway, so I don't think that's actually true now that I'm done. The prick didn't hurt at all any more than like a normal, it was just a tiny pinch. Yeah. It was nothing. The pain comes because this lasts for an hour, and it's not just like they take your blood out,
siphoning out.
It whirls around, then they put it back in. That's not what happens. They take your blood out, and while they're taking your blood out, they give you a stress ball, and you have to pump this stress ball really fast. And there's like a counter right next to your head that it was just like an image. And if it's blue, that means you got to pump. Right. And if it it gets like parentheses around it, that means you got to pump faster. And then it turns red, which means like you got to pump. You got to pump. We're paying you $75, asshole. Pump that shit. And so it's on my left arm. She puts it in, and it's like pump. It's like pump, 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 and then and then so after you start pumping, then it stops for a while, and then it puts your blood back in you along with a saline solution that they say is going to leave a metallic taste in your mouth through your blood, and it'll make you really cold. And it's already like kind of cold in there. They're really pumping. And you look around and there are people with blankets. There are people with big sweatshirts on, like winter coats. Like they knew what was happening. Not their first rodeo. So it's too much pump. And it's like 8 cycles of that. Mm-hmm. Pumping, waiting. And it's just going really slow. And the girl next to me is lapping me. And I'm like, I don't know what's happening. It's like, you're not pumping hard enough. And then the woman comes over and she's like, oh, this isn't working really well. Oh, meanwhile, I'd moved my arm a little and felt a pinch, and I'm gonna put it back, and then it was like
you put it back yourself.
Well, I lifted my arm, and because the needle isn't attached to anything other than just like hanging out of my arm, right. And so you can't move. But I just wasn't prepared to not move that much. Like, put me in like a contraption that doesn't let me move or something. I can't.
Don't you know I have no self-control?
Well, also I'm trying to watch Glow on my cell phone, so it drops, and then I had to pick it up with my left, and that's what happened. That's honestly, I was trying to watch those glorious ladies.
You could have picked up with the other hand.
Gorgeous ladies.
Why'd you pick it up on the?
Look, I wasn't thinking for a second. I was there for what seemed like 8 hours. So it was painful, and it stopped working. And then so she's like, "I'm gonna use your other arm." And then she put it on my other arm, and it was a lot easier. And I didn't get any more red.
So you got them in both arms.
So I did it in both arms.
And
yeah,
you're not supposed to get them in both arms.
Well.
No, but I mean, normally people only get it in. If people go in there, they should expect it only be in one arm.
When she came up to me, she said, "I'm going to look at both your arms, and I'm going to determine which vein is better to use."
Yeah.
And then she grabbed my left arm and used it without looking at my right arm. I don't know why, but then afterwards, she was like, when she put it in my right arm, she was like, "Oh, that vein is way bigger," and I'm like, why didn't you look at both arms?
Is it maybe are you right-handed?
I am right-handed, yeah.
So maybe she goes to left because...
No, I mean, she doesn't know that. She just, I think she just didn't.
It's the one question they didn't ask us.
But this took like an hour, and it is really exhausting.
Yeah.
Like my muscles ached just from the pumping.
Yeah.
So during this process, while I'm sitting there, I get a text from Nick. And Nick's apparently been up to some shenanigans on the other side of the door.
So I go over, first of all, for some reason, I'm an hour delayed behind you. We went in at the same time. You kept getting called up an hour late. It just got longer and longer till I think it was like it was 20 minutes the first time, then 40, then by the end I was an hour staggered behind you for whatever reason. And so I go in the back room, watch the video. Then I went and did the quiz. And then after I did the quiz, I think I was just sort of I can't remember. At some point, it got into my head that I needed to drink water.
Oh, yeah.
That might be the video.
They scare you.
And then I saw another sign that says, we recommend that you drink 4 to 6 glasses of water in the 24 hours you come in here.
This is exactly what happened.
And so I was like, I better drink some water. And so I'm just, before my quiz, I take a very long water. Then after the quiz, I take a very long water drink at the drinking fountain. And then they call my name to go up. I get weighed. I get pricked in the finger, and they test that blood thing. And then they do and every time they're going, all right, we do here's your, your blood pressure now. Just, it needs to be between whatever, 50 and 120 or whatever it is. And I was like, yours is 60, so you're fine. I was like, okay, I don't know what any of these numbers mean. I don't know what I could do to make it higher or lower. She's like, if it's not above 50, you can sit down and try it again. Which I just love the idea of just sitting down and just start running in place so that it seems like an easy thing to fix.
Yeah.
If you don't have the right thing. So then they said the same thing about, okay, now you're going to go ahead and you're going to get the thermometer under your tongue. It needs to be between something like 97 and 99.2 or whatever it is. I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. I do that, and then she's like, did you have a very low temperature? And he's like, you didn't drink any cold water, did you? Keep in mind, I've been doing nothing but chugging cold water for like the past 20 minutes because those signs scared me. I was like, I've done nothing but drink cold water. She's like, well, the cold water looks like it's made your mouth too.
Drink.
Yeah.
Eat, drink. So you have a too cold of a mouth.
You didn't have a lot of gravy before this, did you?
Then you should be able to go and then warm up your mouth a little bit.
So she wanted me to go warm up my mouth. So I go, she's like, go sit down, 10 minutes. So I'm doing mouth calisthenics. I'm trying to make my mouth warm. I don't know. Yeah, getting
Coughing
fuming. Just pressing my tongue up against it, putting it over the heater. Just staring outside and aiming it at the sun. I don't know. It feels, at this point, I'm
like 80 degrees outside.
I don't know how my mouth could still be cold even at that point. It was like the residue of the cold water, because it's still been about 10 minutes since I'd had the cold water before the mouth test. Also, maybe have some signs up that cold water will affect the mouth test, right? But I'm sure I'm not the first person this has happened to.
Yeah, why are you even offering me cold water?
Get rid of the cold water. No cold water.
Put it on the other side of the wall.
Heat up the water. You don't need to have cool water. And so 10 minutes go by, and they go, all right, Nick, come back up. And then I took the mouth test again, and they're like, yeah, your mouth temperature is too cold for you to donate today. And they're like, you can come back tomorrow. I was like, so I can't, there's nothing. They go, no. And I was like, well, why don't I take it a third time? Maybe I didn't. I was like, because at that point, I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm taking this mouth test seriously. I think I could have heated up my mouth better. But I think I took it lightly, assumed, I just took it for granted my mouth would be heated at the appropriate temperature.
I mean, what? Could you have just gone and got a coffee or something?
I could have gotten a fucking coffee.
Could have got a coffee.
A coffee.
That's all I would
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy. Make my mouth hot. I don't know. I could have easily gotten a cup of coffee, warmed it up. Then it would have been too hot. Then I'd been like, did you just have coffee?
Wow.
Okay, so we can come back.
So this is what she said. She said, if you come back, you have to do everything again.
Oh, God.
Well, it's fine. Whatever. It's an hour and a half. You got to do it again. Yeah, it sucks.
It's 3 hours.
That sucks. That really sucks.
I don't know if I can do it 3 hours again just to find out some dumb thing again, right? I've already gone, this will be 3 times I've gone for nothing.
Okay, so I made it
My mouth
did it.
was a steamy 98.1 degrees. And so I did it. I've got huge bandages on. I'm not supposed to take them off for hours. I'm not supposed to
2
drink or
hours,
smoke
right?
for 4 hours. And
Can you smoke weed?
of course. Yeah, she's like, you can get high now, bro.
And everybody there was like, yeah.
Yeah, and everyone like took out their joints and they're like, medicinal. But I feel weird, I'm a little loopy. I thought it was going to be $75, and then after I was done, they gave me $50.
50.
And they said 75 next time. Always something bullshit like
Always something.
that.
Were they like, you can have sex with the male but wait 2 hours?
Wait 2 hours. Oh, no. They want you to come back. You can never have sex with a man. Okay, so they gave me this envelope that's supposed to have my debit card in it. I'm opening it now.
You're opening it now. You haven't opened it yet.
Live. No, I hadn't. Well, I can't do anything with it. This is to be used for our next show or our next... Okay, so it doesn't have my name on it. It says Griffles donor. That's all I am now. I'm a number at Griffles. They just got a stack of these. I thought they'd at least,
Personalize it?
Yeah.
Well, they saw how you
put a
treat
picture
your
of my left
Social
arm on
Security card, so I figured this guy doesn't. He's
He's
going to
need
care
a few
this.
of these. So this card,
What is it, like a Visa or a MasterCard?
Yeah, it's a MasterCard. It's a debit card, and
go.
they just put $50 on it, and then you keep this card for every time you go. Then they just put money automatically on it.
Okay.
And so I guess it would be 75 next time, unless they're like, oh, the second time? No, the second time's free. But if you come back 75 times.
Hey, who's this guy? Where were you before? You my deli?
It's funny because it was some guy I hadn't seen before. You know, there was like a bunch of people I was dealing with. That one woman I had for an hour, and then the guy came out. So there's no questions. Here's your $50. I thought it was 75. It isn't. Get out of here.
One thing I forgot was that when she told me no, and you're sitting there, you're searching, like, well, how do I still do this? And they're like, we've told you it's not happening. And you're like, but I've been told. I've been at places. Do you have any more? Do you have any more Lord of the Rings DVDs? No, we don't. No.
Yeah.
What if I ask a different guy and he looks in the back? Then
You sure you don't have any more hotel rooms?
Yeah, your hotel room thing. Exactly. It's the same exact thing. Or you do have a hotel room. You just don't want to make my room. And I was like, my tongue was 0.2 degrees. My mouth was 0.2 degrees too cold. What? There's got to be something.
Yeah, I was in a hotel and there was like this loud noise. I mean, it wasn't loud. It was like almost nothing, but it was too much for me to sleep. So I went down and I was like, hey, I can't sleep. I need another room. And I must have said that like 8 times to 3 different people. And then on the 9th time I said it, they're like, okay, that's our limit. We got a room.
and you
can go in it now. And I'm like, why did you make me do that?
And she said because she didn't want to.
She didn't want to clean my room.
Yeah.
She's like, well, now we got to clean your room. So somebody else came in
it.
and got that room, and there was another room. Anyway, yeah, it's always something with these people.
Yeah, and you're like, it's no, but is it? And I finally was just like, she's not letting me donate my human liquid, and so then I was like, okay, well, what else? And I was like, why? Okay, it's not happening, and I don't get any credit. She goes, well, here is a card that if you next time you come back in, because you spent 3 hours and are getting nothing for that today, and next time you come in, you're going to have to do that 3 hours all over again. Here's a card where you get $5 more for next time you donate, which I found out later. Another guy I was talking to there, he was like, he had one of those cards too. I was like, oh, were you here a long time too and couldn't donate? He's like, no, I just came in. I was with my friend, and they go, hey, well, if you ever want to do it, here's $5.
I just bumped into this stack of $5 cards.
Yeah.
One of them fell into my pocket.
But the other thing I asked him was, why was I an hour delayed behind Nick? We came in at the same time, Another guy went in front of me, and she's like, well, we had a couple reactions on the floor today. And when reactions happen, then all the staff has to go to this person and help out, and they're that might have the two reactions. And I go, what are reactions? And she's like, all that stuff we kept making you read, it's that stuff, I think it was people like passing out, having a bad reaction to the thing, getting sick. I mean, did you see anybody? Were there any reactions in there when you were in the organ harvesting
Everyone
room?
was having a great time.
Yeah.
Not a single problem. Everyone's like, "Hey, Jen," and it's just like ready to go. Everybody had, like their jackets half on.
Eating hors d'oeuvres.
They had not forgotten their headphones like me.
How were you watching Glow?
On my phone, I just had the volume on because it's
you're
like
that guy.
No, well, it's loud in the place.
You're that guy.
I am, but it was loud and everyone had their headphones on. It's kind of like in an airplane where there's just noise. There's just so loud that it's hard to hear. But so anyway, we're done.
Would you recommend this?
Okay, so with all of this being said, would I recommend this? I do have to add an addendum to my experience because some problems started for me the day after.
Oh, boy.
I woke up on Monday morning and I had a pretty significant bruise on my left arm next to where the first needle went in. And
It looks insane.
it started off small. There was like a couple of bruises, and then by the end of the day, it had more than doubled. And then the next day, I woke up, and it's probably like 9 inches by 6 inch area of my arm around where they took the blood is a full bruise. It's painful. It's blood just started leaking when I moved my arm and it pinched and then I kept squeezing violently for like 10 minutes after the needle had moved, and I guess I was just pumping my own blood into my body outside of my veins, and I have what is known as a hematoma. And what you're supposed to do is just the same stuff like you would do for a sprain. You ice it. You take ibuprofen, you elevate it, you stop, you stay off it or whatever.
Do you think this happened from the needle getting moved?
I do, yes. I think, I don't think it's normal, but it is normal because she said, you can come back after 2 days unless you have a big bruise on your arm. Then we can't, you have to wait till that
because
bruise
your other
goes
arm
in.
is fine.
My other arm, where they did it right, is perfectly fine. You cannot see anything.
And what was the time? They were both, you had needles in for...
I had this needle in for maybe 10, 15 minutes, and then this needle in for like 40 minutes.
Oh, wow. So the 10-minute one is the one that looks like Walking Dead arm.
Yeah. Maybe it was a little longer, 15, 20, yeah.
Oh, so you think anything bad happened? Do you think
No,
you may need medical attention?
No, I think it's it's normal, and it's like there's nothing you can do about it because I looked up like what this was, and it was just like a routine anything. Like when you get a cold, like when you sprain your ankle, there's no reason to go to a doctor. I get it. And
it looks
if
crazy.
you want to see it, you can go on our website or my Twitter. I'll put it up somewhere. And it's really fucking disgusting. You don't have to. There's no reason to. Don't go to it. It hurts a little. It doesn't like, it's not, if this was a result of like blunt force trauma, I think it would hurt a lot more than it's like leaking out of my veins.
It's just so crazy that it's like the needle was in where? The crease of your arm?
Yeah.
And there's
Right in the
parts of
middle.
your arm that
that part's not bruised at all.
Yeah, the part with the needle in is fine. And then all these other parts of your arm
Just
look
pop
like cadaver-like.
Yeah, it was like I was hit by 4 different softballs.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. So you were asking me,
Would you recommend?
would I recommend it? And I would have to say the no on this is so big and so fat that, it might need to get stomach stapling surgery. I say no, do not do this.
Do not.
It was awful on every angle. It was awful in terms of my body, how it made me feel. The after effects have been horrific. I've been walking around. Everyone is asking me about this.
It looks
because
insane.
it looks, it's like I had friends came up to me and said, like, I didn't know if you just had a birthmark I'd never seen. Because it doesn't look like a bruise. It looks like, I have a horror movie on my arm.
Yeah.
So, and we had these plans to get $150.
We thought we were getting $300
and we thought, those 2 times we went, we should have come home with $300, and we have 50 fucking dollars, which is more than zero. It pays for the gas, and that joint we bought. But outside of that,
$50.
It was a big waste of fucking time, and it was awful. And Adam Newman was right.
Yeah. 2 people, 2 different days, 4 hours the first day. Oh, not even to mention, we were there 4 hours. It's an hour and a half to get there, hour and a half back. I mean, definitely between the 2 trips, a full day's work.
So would you recommend?
No, I would not do it. But I think if you need to get money, if you wake up and like, I need $50 by the end of the day.
That's the thing. Right now, I have the ability. I don't have to go in line. I have the ability to, if I need $75 one day, I can drive over there. It'll only take me 2 hours because I don't have to go through all the bullshit.
So the first trip is the worst.
Yeah.
And then you get, it's more value for your time because you're getting more money and you're there.
So like, would I do this again? Absolutely not. Would I go again to get that $75? Maybe. I'll know not to move my arm.
Well, here's some lessons. Bring your Social Security card, preferably one that is
and
legible. W-2. Don't drink cold water. Don't have popsicles and chase it with hot
so
coffee.
So many landmines. Don't bring a shirt.
Don't bring a shirt. You'll get through faster. And your needle, you can't mess with the needle in your arm because you might. That's where you might actually hurt yourself a little bit.
And I did.
I went twice and didn't.
Still
don't have any money from it.
It's hard. It's not a great idea. It's not a great way to make money.
It's not a great way to make money. And then we were figuring out you can donate once every 2 days, twice every week, every 7 days.
Yeah.
And we figured out if you really were like in 1 month, hey, I'm moving at the end of the month. I need as much money as I can before I move. You could make about $400?
Yeah, you can make more the first month. It said, like, if you're a regular donator and you just do this all the time, and you donate twice a week, you can make up to $385. I think I saw a sign that said that was the cap. But the first month, obviously, you can make more because you get the bonuses for the first 3 times, and you can make probably over $500.
That's it. I mean... But this isn't, this could supplement another thing in a pinch. Do it as a regular gig.
People are doing it. They are. Yeah. This is a real normal way to. And my nurse was telling a story to the person next to me about how a guy was hitting on her. She's married, It's just some guy who was like, "Yeah, I'll take you out. I just got my. It's the first of the month, so I got my food stamps." Really? And she's like, "You can take a food stamps to a restaurant?" He's like, "I can, yeah." And then she's like. And then he's like, I get paid on Friday. And she's like, you got a job? And he went, yeah. And she's like, I know what that means. That means donations are your job.
Right.
Anyway.
Would you go to somebody's house if there was an app where it's like, go to someone's house and give them plasma? What would your quote be? $100?
To go give them plasma?
Yeah. Like there's an app where you can go do TaskRabbit, or you can do Rover, or you can go give someone, an old man who's just like, I feed off the blood of the youth.
I mean, to go to somebody's house, I mean, you're asking for it. I don't know. I don't want to do that. I mean, hundreds of dollars. I don't want to. To go to, no.
10,000. I'd do it for $10,000.
For $10,000? Well, you did it for 50.
I did it for nothing.
You did it
twice for nothing.
You tried to do that $8 million. Unless there's like a bunch of weirdos there, then like $50. Nick, we did it. Okay, we donated the plasma, one of us, and we found out exactly how much money you can make doing that, and we have made $50.
We're up $50. It's a good start.
End of episode 1, we have $50 to play with. I'm pretty excited.
So I guess we're going to take that $50 and go to the racetrack.
Going to the track. This might not be the best decision to do with the only money we've made so far, but I'm betting on the ponies.
Well, we have CJ Sullivan coming on, and if anyone is going to get us rich at the horse track, it might as well be him.
Yeah. He's Mr. Racetrack. He grew up at the racetrack. Had no parents. His parents were a jockey and a horse.
He's the shortest little horse you've ever seen. He's a short little horse man.
All right, guys, join us next week when we bet on the ponies at Santa Anita Racetrack.
We'll see you
at the races.
Races.
There. We did it. A whole episode.